Hello. We'll go ahead and start. Question for Redevelopment Housing Authority, PRHA Board of Commissioners meeting held on the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. All members, all meetings are conducted at PRHA's main office, 3116 South Street, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707, unless otherwise noted. All members of the public are welcome to attend. We are now going to do a roll call.
Commissioner Cost,
Here.
Commissioner Morgan,
Here.
Commissioner Pickens, Commissioner Williams,
Yeah.
Commissioner Wicks, Vice Chair Prince,
Present.
and Chair Wright. We have four.
All right. Working in order, election of the chair and vice chair. I'm sorry.
Yep, we'll turn that over around the council.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, we will conduct the election of officers as part of our annual meeting. And at this time, the floor is open for nominations for the position of chair. Are there any from the floor?
I noticed that we had these in here. Are we doing this or not? Okay.
I nominate Commissioner Williams.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate myself if possible.
Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? If not, the nominations are closed. At this time, we will take a vote for Commissioner Williams as chair. All in favor? Keep your hands up so we can please get a ballot.
You want it up a bit long?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
You got it?
Yes.
Okay.
oh, okay.
All in favor of Commissioner Prince?
I'll remove my vote.
All right. And with the vote, we have Commissioner Williams. You have the majority of votes for the position of chair of the Suffolk Redevelopment Housing Authority. Following. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Congratulations.
At this time, the floor is open for nominations for the position of vice chair. Are there any nominations for the floor?
Nominate Cost.
Commissioner Cost. Are there any other nominations from the floor?
I'm nominating myself twice.
If there are no other nominations, the nomination process for the position of vice chair is now closed. All in favor of position of Commissioner Cost for vice chair, please raise your hands.
You don't have to vote for yourself.
Just curious.
The ayes have it. Congratulations, Commissioner Cost.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Commissioner Williams, turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, sir. The, oh.
They like to get that, Shara. Look at that seat.
I really have gotten comfortable in it.
Oh, can you give a name plate here? We'll fix it. This mess.
Commissioner Cox, you stand over there. You want to come over here?
I should have home. That's what you right.
You don't have to switch.
Okay.
We'll fix the name tag.
It's on to it.
Let me make sure I understand the agenda. So this meeting then adjourns?
You have to take a roll back to them.
Okay.
Basically, Commissioners, the chair needs to lead the motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
The motion, a second, that motion in second. Madam Secretary. My first question, is there any unread? There being none, Madam Secretary.
Okay. Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens. No. Chair Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Wicks. Commissioner Prince
Yes.
and Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
And good afternoon, everyone. The Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting is held the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. All meetings are conducted in PRHA's main office, 3116 South Street, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23707. Unless otherwise noted, all members of the public are welcome to attend. This is the Commissioners meeting of October 3rd. Madam Secretary, you'll call the roll.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Here.
Commissioner Pickens, Commissioner Wicks, Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Williams.
Yes. Commissioners, we do have a quorum. The approval of the commissioner meetings of August 8th, 2024. Meeting minutes. There's one item I'd like to address before we get to that point. In several occasions, we've had meetings where there seemed to be some confusion about how the minutes are approved. So what I've done is, actually, I was gonna sit over there and do it, was to bring us up to date with Robert's Rules of Order. Please allow me just a moment. According to Robert's Rules, minutes drafted ahead of time aren't the official minutes until the members approve them. Today's technology has made its mark on meeting minutes. The secretary can now draft the minutes and easily send copies to the members for them to read before the meeting. Then members can come to the meeting prepared to make corrections. You can still read the minutes aloud to the members at the meeting if you want to. But if time is precious, which ours is, distribute the draft of the minutes in advance. Members can make notes of any corrections, meetings, and be able to meet according to the record and keep their copies of the draft minutes on file, or if the final version isn't automatically distributed to them at a later date. The most efficient way of approving minutes is for the chair to assume the motion and obtain unanimous consent that the minutes be approved as distributed. Presiding officer says, the minutes have been distributed to you. Are there any corrections? If corrections are offered, the chair handles each by offering the correction of the membership, just to be sure everyone agrees on the corrections and that they're accurate. The secretary is then able to certify that the minutes are correct. Now, if the assembly isn't met, following items have to be construed. That's more. The most, according to Robert's rules, minutes drafted ahead of time aren't the official minutes until the members, of course, approve them. The most efficient way, of course, is to do it in this way. But no further corrections are offered. The presiding officer said, if there are no further corrections, the minutes are approved and distributed, and there is no vote on the minutes. That's Robert's Rules of Order. We will follow Robert's rules so that we can expedite our process. You've all had a copy of the minutes that were drafted. Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, the minutes will stand approved as submitted. Presentation of J. Grant, Executive Director, LISC Hampton Roads.
Yeah.
Good evening, commissioners and, citizens that are present today. Mr. Grant is with List Hampton Roads. He's going to share with you a little bit about List Hampton Roads and how we can partner with them in some of their upcoming efforts with their merge program. Would you like to come?
Okay, good evening, and thank you to the board, thank you to the chair, vice chair, and executive director. My name is Jay Grant. I am serving as executive director of BOC Hampton Roads. BOC is a local initiative support corporation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. It's based in New York, but I represent the Hampton Roads office. We are based right here in Portsmouth. We have our office on High Street. And actually, we will be celebrating a ribbon cutting ceremony on October 23rd, 739 B as in boy, High Street, for the celebration of our new office. We've been in Bloom co-working the last 2 years. So this Emerge program stands for Emerging Mission Engaged Real Estate Developer Growth Exchange. It's really targeting what we're calling mission engaged or mission oriented real estate developers. When we say mission engaged, it's really all about folks that will understand or already understand or want to be a part of the mission here in Portsmouth. Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority, economic development, all of what Portsmouth is trying to accomplish in terms of increasing access to affordable housing. And so this is about growth. This is a program. It's a 16 to 20 week program that is really targeting developers that are newer, that are more nascent, and that are trying to expand their horizons and really focusing on affordable housing. If I can go back to that last slide real quickly, just for a moment, I'm sorry. Because the last part is important too, and then you can bounce right back. The exchange. So it's a two-way street. This is a learning process where it's going to be very engaging, a lot of questions. It's all about getting these newer developers access that they don't have. And so when you look at this slide, the background, why are we doing this? I'm probably preaching to the choir when I'm here at the Housing Authority that housing costs have soared. So you look at, if you just look at post-COVID, look at the housing prices. I will say anecdotally, my mom's side of the family is from Portsmouth. We sold my grandmother's house in Truxton earlier this year. Now this was I'm going a little bit off script real quickly, but to help you to understand. So we sold the house. I say we, my mom and my uncle sold the house against my will. It's okay. Sold it for about $105,000 to a flipper. I say against my will because I said let's keep it longer. Let's do something more with it. The flipper sold it in 2 months' time after putting work in the interior. They sold it for a little bit over $300 in Truxton. So that's just a snapshot of the soaring housing prices that's happening right here in Portsmouth. And so the supply is inefficient also. So you got a supply and demand issue. When you have low supply, a lot of folks are not selling their homes right now across Hampton Roads, across the country, because they've got these low COVID rates that they're locked in. If you've got a 2% interest rate, why would you sell unless you're unless you're moving? So that's just one of the pieces. But also there's lack of diversity in terms of the developers out there. If you look across the country, you've got fewer than 1% of all real estate development companies are owned by someone who's black or brown. Across the country, fewer than, right now it's about 2 to 3% are women-owned real estate companies. And so we plan to help to broaden the scope of who's doing the development. We think we'll get more creativity, we'll get, more healthy competition as well. And so, and you see the last bullet point on the left, bottom left, underrepresentation hampers the community growth, it hampers wealth development as well. And so on the right side, what's our response? Our response is this emerging developer program that we're calling Emerge. It's a training program. It's going to boost the supply of affordable housing. It's going to empower and boost the number and the breadth of the developers that are here in Hampton Roads and specifically in Portsmouth. This is going to target underserved community members with historically low industry participation. And this last bullet point, we've been stretching this out. We're actually looking to start the program in earnest early 2025. But we have right now an RFP out for a facilitator role. Actually, we've been getting in bids right now. And so we are going to lock in who this facilitator is. And we'll be announcing that hopefully on October 23rd. Next slide. Oh, here we go. And so just this is a sneak peek at what the program does. So it's empowering developers. Now we're going to take this program city by city. We're already in talks with Williamsburg. We're in talks with Norfolk. We're in infancy stage talks with Chesapeake, and Virginia Beach is probably right behind that. And so I feel that this is it's exciting that we're starting this program. We're starting right here in Portsmouth, and we've been in close contact with the mayor, with some small scale developers that have been helping us brainstorm this, as well as with Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority. And so the cohort will be about 15 to 20 people each time. And so we'll replicate this. We'll do this in Norfolk, we'll do it in Williamsburg, we'll come back to Portsmouth, and we hope to do this in perpetuity. For as long as we have the ability to do this, we want to just continue. So what that's going to do, it's going to create a network of newer developers, hopefully Black and brown and women-owned development companies, others as well, but again, focus on that underrepresented population. And what happens is you create this synergy that we haven't seen before. To my knowledge, we have not seen a program like this at all in Hampton Roads. We're replicating programs at list that we've carried out in New York City, Milwaukee, Seattle, Chicago. So we have a model for this. We take the template, and what we're doing is crafting it to what makes the most sense here in our locality. So goals, we want to increase the housing stock of affordable housing. And so at the end of the program, one of the things that makes this special is that we're getting shovels in the ground. So there will be an application process for program participants or the developers themselves that they have to go through. So they'll apply on paper or online. We'll announce that application opening up on October 23rd. So you see me pitching this. I hope some of y'all will be out there on the 23rd. We'll announce it. And then at that point, it'll close. Sometime thereafter, we will have interview processes. So it's going to be a very competitive process. I can think of about 40 or 50 people that have actually told me that they're interested in this program. And so to get down to the number of 15 or 20, that means it's going to be competitive. So they'll go through the interview process. Again, we'll talk about, why should you get into the program? Are you committed to creating affordable housing? Are you committed to Portsmouth? Are you committed to the continual improvement of Portsmouth and the quality of life? And so, we get the shovels in the ground at the end. Some of our developers will already own or have some kind of site control for their properties. One of the reasons why we're interested in talking with Portsmouth Redevelopment and Housing Authority is because some of them don't. And that's part of the issue is, access to capital. So if you talk to any small business owner, what's your number one issue? Access to capital. Same thing. These are business owners. They don't have capital oftentimes. They don't have land. They don't have access to the knowledge. So this is an educational program. They don't have access to the resources or the connections. And so part of the program is also incorporating the Redevelopment Housing Authority into the program. And so we have guest speakers each and every time that we meet. PRHA will certainly be a part of that. But again, one of the ideas that we're interested in is the potential to work with PRHA towards land that could be utilized for development in terms of what you're looking for on these parcels. How do we implement this program? We contract with a service provider, and that's the RFP that's out right now. We are the overseer. We're carrying out the program by way of this facilitator. And we create modules. We have training, 40 training hours at minimum. We're beginning talks with TCC to make this make these credit hours for continued education. Our Williamsburg cohort that we're going to be kicking off in the future, we've already verified with Virginia Peninsula Community College, formerly Thomas Nelson, that will be credit hours. So we're looking to do the same thing here in Portsmouth. And then you can see, again, it's our inaugural cohort, and we have future talks as well. Let's see. So this just really talks about where we're going to be taking this and what the possibilities are. LISC Hampton Roads works from the peninsula to the northern neck into northeastern North Carolina and the eastern shore and over to Emporia. So those are all the potential places that will run this program. It would be very similar. We would tweak it to that respective location. The fun part is the budget. So if you can see, I know it's small. The important column is this year one. And so right now we've partnered with Portsmouth Economic Development Authority, Dollar Bank Foundation, Bolton Bank, and Centera Health. And so we are looking for a potential collaboration between the Redevelopment Housing Authority and LISC in order to carry out this program. What I would be most interested in would be land donation, if that's possible, of donated parcels of land for housing. And what that would do, that would be an in-kind contribution. It would be, and we would add that to the dollar amounts of what we have here for the program. This slide is really about grants directly to the developers. And so we're still working on this part, but one of the icing on the cake pieces, if you will, is that we want our developers to come out of this program, reducing some of that access to capital gap. And so we're working with private funders to potentially close some of these gaps. And so we're talking about grants, obviously strings attached, certain requirements, mostly that they get shovels in the ground. We're looking to create affordable housing products very quickly after they complete the program. Yes, sir.
Chair,
Yes.
before you move too far, the in-kind piece for land
Yes.
donation, can you delve into that just a little bit more as far as our benefit to?
Absolutely. So, in particular for developers that don't have access to a site, one of the cost burdens, of course, would be, the cost of land, the cost of a property, whether they're doing a redevelopment project, trying to purchase a building to rehabilitate, trying to purchase a vacant lot with nothing on it. So what we're trying to do is close that gap. So let's say if there's a parcel of land valued at $25,000, and if that parcel was donated to the graduating developer, of course, with strings attached as to what has to be done and the timing in which it has to be carried out, then we would count that as a $25,000 if, that's the assessed value contribution to the program, even if the transaction did not directly involve LISC.
So you actually train developers. That's
Correct.
what you do.
That is
That's what
what
you
the
do.
program.
That's
Yeah.
what, but that's what you do.
That's what we're doing here. Yes, sir.
Right. And in that regard, you're asking for donations, but there's nothing back in kind. The donation is free.
They
Is
get
that right?
something for it, right?
What are you saying? What are you saying? Coming back to whom?
If you donate,
PRHA, what is our benefit?
Whoever
what
develops.
is our benefit?
Got you. I would say the greater benefit, it's kind of similar to what's the benefit of anything that LISC does. So again, we're a nonprofit. The ROI on everything that we do is a community benefit. So when we're looking at why are we doing this in Portsmouth? Norfolk was banging my door down. I can tell you.
I understand Norfolk banging your door down.
Yes, sir.
But somebody makes money.
So the developer,
Portsmouth is not gonna make any money if he gives you the land, right?
well, it's tax revenue, tax base, we're increasing the
We
tax
don't pay
base
any tax. You're saying the tax base for the city.
for the city. So what we look at is what is the overall community impact? And so were it not for the program, how many of these developers would be able to launch what they're trying to do? Where would they launch it if they would launch it at all? So what we're saying is, let's create this impact, this social impact, this economic impact. Let's create it right here in Portsmouth.
I think one of the benefits that I like about the program is that we have often struggled with minority developers participate in our program. So training them so we can increase that pool of minority developments would definitely be a help to the authority in the projects that we carry on. As far as some land, we have some vacant land that we've had on our books, probably 20, 30 years, maybe even longer, that we've had for sale for many years, are just sitting. So I think probably another benefit for the city would be because again, we don't pay taxes. So to get that back on the tax rolls and get revenue in for the city, as well as creating affordable housing for our residents that potentially could purchase some of these homes that's available to.
And I fully understand that. But somebody gets paid.
Well, I think,
There's no way around it. Somebody gets paid.
And
Ms. Winston, what you were saying, basically, like with not the TCC property, but over by Lowe's, some of the benefit for us would be decreased in cost for maintenance on the property.
Yes. But we still have to pay insurance and we still have to do maintenance. On the property.
So we're not gonna make money, but we could at least decrease some of what we're spending,
That's correct.
is what you're saying.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is that property for sale?
Well, we're not speaking, we have
Oh.
several properties. I don't think he's asking for a particular property now. We'll come back with that, with the specific ad.
Yeah, that.
I just think he wanted to discuss more about the program, the benefits for partnering with the authority. If we designate property for this program, then we'll certainly have to come back and ask for the board approval
Right.
to do so.
Right.
But the bottom line is you train developers.
Correct. So this is just more about LISC. And so, sir, to your question about training developers, this is one component of LISC. I'd say more broadly, we're all about affordable housing creation and preservation, wealth building, and also small business. And then more holistically, we're saying community resilience. Community resilience in the sense of how do we help any community be resilient against economic downturns, against environmental issues, against social injustices, et cetera. And so with that being said, it's a very broad type of entity. And we have offices within our national office that we tap into in many different areas, including, for instance, safety and justice. So we recently received a grant through Warner and Keynes offices for safety coordination in Portsmouth and Chesapeake. And so once we receive those dollars, we'll be hiring what we're calling a safety coordinator. And that'll be focused on violence prevention and intervention. And they'll be working hand in hand with other grassroots organizations. in the 23704 zip code, and then over in the South Norfolk neighborhood, parts of that area in Chesapeake. But yes, for this conversation, it's all about the developers, but it's really about again, the greater impact. When you look at Portsmouth, how can we create, as I mentioned, I gave you the example of my grandma's house. That's not an isolated example. And so, folks would ask me, why look at affordable housing in Portsmouth? When you look at the Greater Hampton Roads and they say, well, Portsmouth has, on average, the lowest, sales prices in the region. Well, those prices are rising very quickly. And at some point, if you took a snapshot 5, 7, 10 years later, we're going to be seeing price points that are unaffordable if they're not already. And so what we're trying to do is say, let's get ahead of this curve, and be able to create products that work with developers that have been, kind of kept out of the game, but also let's help work with individuals and families that may have been locked out of home ownership as well. So really, that's our ROI. I can't really make up an ROI and say that, oh, well, in my proposal, PRHA is going to, get X, Y, Z. The real ROI is really the greater community good. That's what we do. Again, we're a nonprofit. We raise funds. So, we're not looking at ROI the way that a business would look at it. We're looking at it as a community ROI. And again, this is just more about who we are. 38 offices across the country, plus a rural office that covers rural America. We opened up in 2020 and we moved into Portsmouth at Bloom in 22. And then we're taking the old building that Rivers Casino had before they moved into the casino. That's what we're moving into on the 23rd. And Centera Healthcare, or now Centera Health, they gave a generous donation to get us started. Maurice Jones at the time was our president and CEO of LISC nationwide. So he was a big part of getting the office started. He's still here in the region. He's still on our local board. And I think that's, this is our team. We have a small team. And I believe that is it. And I just, I appreciate the opportunity to share and hopefully be able to partner in some way, shape or form, whether it's what I recommended or whether it's some other way. And at least I appreciate it.
And you're welcome. Thank
So
you.
you're still in the Bloom building, but a separate part of the Bloom building.
Separate part of the Bloom Buildings. We occupy the entire part of that separate part.
Or Rivers, yeah.
Yep. Any questions? Other questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The chair's remarks. First of all, let me just thank you for the opportunity to serve. To give you somewhat of a background that I have. For many years, I was raised in a housing project in a place in Norfolk called Golden Park that no longer exists because the Norfolk Redevelopment Housing Authority came through and said, hey, we're going to try this down. And when we finish, y'all can come back. And when they finished, the houses were $350,000. So you know how many people went back. So I was very fortunate, though, to live in that project because we enjoyed it. The reason we enjoyed it because there was nowhere else to go. Okay? So that was an opportunity for us. So as far as my background goes, I think I may have told some of you, I chaired the planning commission for 4 years before coming here. At one time, my education is my background. Any of you have ever heard of Kellum High School? If you go into Kellum High School, you'll see my picture on the wall. I was the principal at Kellum High School before leaving to become the superintendent of schools in Richmond, Virginia. So I have somewhat of a background in education, but this whole thing of helping people survive and do better is critical. Okay. Somebody said to me once when I was younger, oh, you live in a project. And I said, I tell you what, Give me $500,000, I guarantee you, in the next day I won't be here. The folks who are there, don't have another choice. We should not ever, ever look down upon them. But I tell them all the time, get that lady $100 million, I guarantee tomorrow she'll be gone. Now, we may have to help her learn how to spend that $500,000. But I guarantee you, she'll be gone. That's our challenge, and that's our obligation. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. I'm not naive enough to think that I don't serve at your pleasure, and strictly at your pleasure. And again, thank you for the opportunity. I don't see Councilman Tillers here. So we'll move on. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening again, commissioners. Just have a few updates for you. Board retreat, October the 26th. You all excited?
Yes.
It will be from 9 to 3 p.m. and it'll be held at the Renaissance. You'll be able to park in the garage, just bring your tickets to us so we can take care of the payment for that parking.
This Pickens, he want me to put him on speaker.
Oh,
He said he can't hear it.
okay. He can't get on.
I don't know, he just told me to put him on speaker. I'll do it later.
Hello. Okay, so I'm just giving an update.
Okay, she's just doing the updates right now, just FYI. Okay.
We'll provide breakfast and lunch, for the meeting, and facilitating with me will be Lindsay O'Priest, for the retreat as well. I received only a few comments, of topics that you may want to discuss during that retreat, so please get them to me by Monday. I've heard security and, discuss the bylaws. So we'll look at those, but any other subject matters you want us to touch on, please let me know, by Monday so we can make sure that we're well prepared for that, okay?
I think Commissioner Prince had asked for a copy of the minutes of the last retreat.
So, yep, that's on my notes here. So, yeah, you did ask for that, and the last one was held on August 21st, 2019. And unfortunately, we don't have any minutes, from that meeting. But I will make sure that we have a summary going forward for this retreat.
They were supposed to have supplied, I'm sorry,
Yeah, what's his name?
Nope, that was the last one.
it was in blue.
Yeah.
No, that was the strategic plan meeting.
Oh.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yes, that was the
Yeah.
strategic plan, yes. So we have that. We're gonna go over that at the, retreat as well.
Okay.
Okay,
So that was the strategic planning meeting at the.
thank you. That's what I was thinking about.
Right, so the last retreat was 2019.
Okay.
And, that was here, it was actually right before a board meeting, and, Cindy O'Hara facilitated that, if you all remember her.
That was before.
Yeah. Okay. So any comments, again, any subject matters you want me to touch on, please let me know. In your packet is also a flyer for Beyond, the Bridge. And it's a viewing, and that will be held on October the 7th, and it's a regional showing. It's a documentary about solutions to homelessness and affordable housing. So following that documentary, we'll be looking at ways that we can decrease the gaps in affordable housing, current projects that are going on within the other localities, and next step. So it's a kind of a call to action, for local government and housing authorities to work on addressing this need. So if you want to go, you can register, and there is space open. And this is a partnership between the Planning Council and Bethany Baptist in Chesapeake. Unfortunately, we were notified that we were not awarded the Choice Neighborhood Grant. So we will look at other ways to redevelop, Swanson Home and the surrounding communities. And it's including also maybe applying for a Choice Neighborhood Grant next year. We'll start the process much earlier and working with the city, as well as getting a consultant on board to help us, maneuver through that process.
Did they give you a list or summary of why not?
They did not give a list, they did give a scoring, and it wasn't that high. It wasn't in a range.
And it doesn't tell you where we scored low.
Yes, yeah. So I can share that with you all. if you want. Most of that information went to the city because they were the primary applicant in that, but I'll share that with you. And so we're gonna look at that for next year, so we can see ways that we can improve our score. I think primarily it was just timing issues because the city approached us a few weeks, maybe a month or so before it was due. And so I don't think, we really had enough time to really put forth a thorough application. So. National Night Out was held on Tuesday. It's normally a well-attended event, but because of the weather, there was very few people out there. So of course, PRJ participated. The band was awesome as well. There was a few vendors out there and a few residents. So hopefully, next year, we can look at whether we want to partner with the city again or do something, Commissioner Calls recommended as in our own communities during the National Night Out there. October board meeting is scheduled for October the 17th. We don't have any action items for you, and we also have the retreat on the 26th. So did you all still want to have that meeting, or would you all like to forego that meeting?
That's not for good.
I say forego.
Before we go down.
Also, we're gonna be looking at putting out a survey, to our resident, before the year end. Just to look at ways that we can improve our processes, what is working well, with the residents and authority. And so we'll provide those results to the board as well. We're also looking at doing that for employees here at the Housing Authority as well, in the same vein. So we'll share those results as well.
How did you put a notice out door to door or?
We will. So we'll put a notice out letting for the residents. We haven't put it out yet, but we will put out a notice to them. And we'll come up with a couple of options. We've talked about electronic, things like maybe Survey Monkey, or just the old fashioned drop it in a box. A lot of times residents fear sometimes it's retaliation. If we're gonna know, they're gonna know who said it. And so we don't want them to be discouraged as far as putting out that information and giving us what we need. So we'll work on both ways.
How are they to get that back to you?
They can either do it, we'll have it so they can do it electronically, or they'll be able to drop it if they're in office in a box. Okay? And that's all I have.
Thank you.
If I may, Chair, for unfinished business.
Yes.
I'd like to thank our ex-chair and, thank you for everything that you did. And do you have anything that you'd like to say?
No, it was my pleasure serving. It really is. And I'm still here, so. But February 2026. But thank you guys for just having me. It really is, this is my way of doing the community service that I wanted to do on the back end. I wanted to be an advocate for the citizens that we serve in our public housing communities. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I wanted to make sure that I could help them and guide them and, just so they're on the right track that's needed. Because if they don't reach us here at the housing authorities, who else do they talk to? Somebody else out there. But it's good to talk to someone that knows. So, but to have the opportunity to do it on the front end, my husband is truly excited that I won't be doing anything when I retire, other than him and I just doing whatever. So thank you guys and allowing me to just still continue to serve.
And as outgoing vice, I'd like to welcome new vice. Thank you guys for letting me, be second hand. I'll be here for as long as they'll let me be here. I hope that I do, or give to the group. I know that I'm out there frequently with people that are actually in the neighborhoods. Trust me, my phone goes off the hook every time they hear Dale. Dale's Road, Dale's Boulevard, Dale's Stoplight, whatever. Anytime they hear it, my phone goes off. But, as Ms. Wright was saying, if the community can't come to us, and I share being from a hood. I lived on the 17th floor of 36 stories in Cleveland, Ohio, Garden Valley. So I understand what hood was. We used to have to take our garbage down to an incinerator room on the 9th floor. So, yeah, I think we do a lot for the neighborhoods. There's a lot more we can do and should do. But thank you. So.
Well, let me thank both of you. The unfortunate thing about many of our residents and where they live is, you're right, they talk to the wrong people
They do.
and get the wrong
They
information.
do.
And everybody thinks because you live there, you must be some kind of crook.
That's not true.
They scared too,
That's right.
so we have an obligation to them.
Absolutely.
Well, let me thank both of you for the great service.
Thank you.
See, we have several action items. Resolution 2024-21 is a resolution authorizing the acquisition of land limited partners interest in King Square 2006 Limited Partnership by the Portsmouth Development Corporation. You gonna speak to that, or somebody's gonna speak to that?
Yes, so our legal counsel, is he on? Let me. Okay.
If not, should we defer this?
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can we move to the next item? And then see if we can get them back on? Okay.
The next item, I'm sorry,
No, we can do that. I just need to get the,
the next item is the public hearing and presentation of the 2025 agency plan. And MTV supplemental work.
that will be me. Okay. Just make sure. Presentation, I'm trying to. Is that me or is that you? Oh, okay, is he here?
Sorry.
Is he here?
Yeah. No, that's why I was trying to get him this.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
But they're doing that, Ms. Cost, what advantage are your children in?
One in Norfolk and one in, North State Band.
Okay. You hold the green and gold. Do it well.
Yeah. He's not here.
No? Okay. Go outside. Give me the call. Okay. So for most of you all are familiar with, this process of going through the agency plan. This is required every year, by HUD. They want us to tell them exactly what we're gonna do with the funds and, how we involve the process, of involving residents and citizens as well. Okay. So again, it's required for all agencies administering the housing choice voucher and public housing program. It's a guide to our programs and policies and just a source of information for you all and the public and our residents that we serve. So the process includes this. First, we draft a plan. And then we provide a notice of that draft plan, to the residents and to the citizens in the community. We place that in the paper. And we also place that notice on our website. The plan is available for viewing on our website. And HUD requires a 45-day comment period, for those to review and provide comments on the plan. We met with the Resident Advisory Board on September 2024 to go over that plan with them as well. And today, we also are going through the plan today, and we will open up the public hearing for anybody that wants to provide comments, to the plan as well. All comments have to be included in our response to HUD. So HUD will be notified of the comments throughout this process. So we have what is a 5-year plan, and then we have an annual plan. So every 5 years, we have to draft a plan and say what we're gonna do with the funds for the next 5 years. But HUD recognizes that things changes year to year, and so they also allow us to update this plan every year. And because we're a move to work agency, we now have to include an MTW supplement as a part of this process as well. So we'll continue our missions and goals that are identified in the plan. So we're going to continue to expand the supply of assisted housing, improve the quality of assisted housing, increase assisted housing choices, and improve community quality of life and economic vitality. So you all know that we were designated as a move to work agency a few years ago. I know you're probably tired of me talking about it now. But we were selected of a cohort of 10 agencies. 5 are under the step rent cohort, and then the other 5 were the tiered rent. And so we'll be under the step rent policy for the next 6 years. And through that process, there will be a comprehensive evaluation where they will study the impact of this program. They'll look at implementation and cost study related to this program as well. So if you remember, and I know I'm going over this, some of you all probably remember this. So there are 2 groups that are selected or included in the study eligibility. So those that are included or can participate in Move to Work program are non-elderly, non-disabled, parent housing subsidy recipients and new admissions, housing choice voucher program, public housing program participants. These are all that can participate as a Move to Work participant. So those that are excluded from this program are those that are on flat rent or zero half. Our special purpose voucher programs, which you may have heard of BASH or our foster youth voucher or our FUD voucher, our homeownership program participants, our FSS participants, and households living in our Job Plus community, which is Seaboard Square. We had 2 Job Plus communities, as you all remember, since Swanson Home, the residents being relocated, we now have Seaboard Square. Okay. So with the MTW program and those are selected for the program, you know that their rent is no longer tied to their income. Traditionally, their rent is tied to their income. So 30% of their income will be designated as their rent. And so for those participants that are selected for MTW, they will just have a step increase every year. So, and that is based on the bedroom size. So just for a 2-bedroom household, a 2-bedroom unit, that annual increase is about $36 a year. Okay, regardless of the income. Remember, we're not looking at the income anymore. We're just looking at, a step increase. And you may say, why do this? And, income maybe should be tied to their rent. But the purpose of the program is to hope that our residents will be incentivized to save their money. And so that every time they make $1, the housing authority is not taking 30 cents of that dollar. So that they have the ability to save, to be able to afford childcare, to be able to save for a down payment on a home. And so that is the purpose of this program. And we're hoping that at the end of the 6 years, we'll be able to see the impact that this program has made. And HUD will make a determination whether they will apply this principle throughout all of the housing authorities, or it will have the option to continue because we're a Move to Work agency, but they may, push this out to other housing authorities. So they're going to look at the impact. It is very heavily research-based. Now, there are hardships for MTW. So if someone can't afford that $36 increase that I told you, if they have excess childcare of more than $2,500, we can look at that. And we'll also, if their rent, that step rent takes them to over 40% of their income, they automatically get a hardship. So we're not going to say you have to pay the $36 if it's going to create a hardship for you, if that $36 takes you over 40% of your income. And so those are 2 things that they can get on MTW hardship. And because we're MTW agents, we have certain flexibilities that other housing authorities don't have. So we can go up to 150% of the HUD small area fair market rent. We do conduct our own rent reasonableness in-house. And then we can do triennial or biennial recertification for all of our households. We also, our residents can self-certify if they have assets under $50,000. And we're also able to provide landlord incentives for our landlords that participate in our program. And then we also, because we're MTW, we can perform our own inspections on our own properties. And then we could also go up to 3 years if we wanted on inspections for all of our units. And if I'm going too fast, please stop me.
All right, sounds like it's something. All right, thank you. Okay. Bye now.
You're welcome.
also with the MTW flexibility, we have a program cap of 50%. And we also have a project, cap of 100%. That means that we can put more, project-based vouchers on the projects or the, housing or developments that we create. And then also we would limit our choice mobility to 24 months. Also, up to 10% of the HCB budget authority can be used for development activities. Again, because we're moved to work, agency. And then there are alternate verification, hierarchies that are available to us as a housing authority, and we can use self-certification as well. So we no longer have to wait if the residents aren't getting the information from their employers for their income, they can self-certify as to what their income is, annually. And we will accept that as a form of certification or verification. Okay? So Ms. Jenkins, our Director of Asset Management, is going to come up and speak to you all about the changes to the ACOP.
Everyone. Think you're all probably familiar with APOP and the admin plan. So what is HOPMA? The Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act, HOPMA, signed into law on July 29, 2016, amending many aspects of multifamily housing programs, as well as programs administered through the Offices of Public and Indian Housing and Community Planning and Development. HOPMA was intended to streamline the process and reduce burdens on housing providers. So the next items that I'm going to present will affect both programs, the public housing and HCD program as well. The Housing Information Portal, HIP, which some of you are familiar with, is required for full HOPMA implementation. This new system will replace the PIC system, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Implementation of HIP is currently pending. The asset limitation, families with assets that exceed $100,000 will be out of compliance with the asset limitation. Calculation of income. Annual reexams will be calculated using the previous 12 months instead of the current. Deductions and expenses, elderly disabled family deductions will increase from $400 to $525. The sum of unreimbursed health and medical care and reasonable attendant care and auxiliary expenses that exceed 10% of the family annual income can be deducted from annual income, and Inspire inspections goes into effect effective October 1st, 2025.
Okay, so the ACOP is, you're good.
Okay.
So I'm just explaining that the you had questions about the
I don't have
ACOP.
any, but Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Very familiar with it.
Okay.
So the ACOP addressed the policies of our public housing program. I'm sure you all are familiar. And next we'll have our director of our HB voucher program, to come out and speak on the changes to admin. So the admin plan focuses on HCB programs. The ACOP is on public housing.
As Ms. Jenkins stated, with the HOPMA changes of, the admin plan in 2025, HIP, asset limitation and calculation of income, deduction expenses, and Inspire, it mirrors both programs. So the only difference is with, HCB is the mainstream voucher. Regarding the PRHA policy, all mainstream vouchers must be provided a initial term of 120 calendar days. And if the family can request an extension, and we must grant a 90-day extension regardless of written or verbal request.
That's when they're searching for housing.
Commissioners, any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, and lastly, but certainly not least, Mr. LaShawn Pittman, our Director of Development, will talk to you. He'll talk to you about development activities and capital projects over the next year.
Afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
Then
You need a pad.
I want to speak to you about our three projects that are underway currently. Lexington Seniors, 26 Lexington Drive. This community will house 105 units for seniors 55 and older. The Lexington Senior would define comfort, community, and well-being for seniors with a state-of-the-art fitness facility and a scenic dog park. Everything is designed to enhance the living standard and well-being of our beloved senior community. Our next project is the Twin Pines Senior Community at 3993 Twin Pines Road. This community will offer 82 units to our seniors 55 and older. We are thrilled to introduce the Twin Pines Senior Community, a remarkable and new development designed with seniors in mind, nestled in a picturesque wooded setting with the state-of-the-art amenities, thoughtfully designed spaces. Twin Pines will provide an exceptional living experience that feels just like home for our seniors.
That's out in Churchland.
Yes, sir. And this will create a presence for Portsmouth Housing Authority in the Churchland community. Last but certainly not least is the demolition of our Swanson Homes community at 1746 South Street. This community housed 210 units with 31 buildings. As you all know, all families have been relocated from Swanson Homes, and PRHA has selected, well, we will be selecting and working with A&E firms to develop plans and specs for the demolition and redevelopment or putback of that community. The authority has installed a fence to secure the property until the demolition is scheduled. The Senior Repair Program. This program is designed for seniors who are, at the time of application, have to be 62 or older. They must own their home in the city of Portsmouth with no outstanding taxes. They must meet the eligibility guidelines, and I have an example here. The total income for the household must be less than $47,350 for one person, $54,100 for a two-person household, and $60,850 for a three-person household. There is other criteria that also applies. When they apply, they will receive the full criteria list for the program. The level of assistance is limited solely to the cost repair, specific repairs necessarily for them to have a comfortable living situation. The maximum for each applicant is $15,000. So, of course, as all of you commissioners have mentioned, that they come here to get the facts. A lot of people get misinformation,
Right.
but it is $15,000 per household or per applicant for repairs.
If I may, Chair,
Yeah,
two things on that.
Yes, sir.
First, does this take away, and I'm being that naysayer with the community, does this take away from what we're doing for our community in PRHA as far as helping or getting our stuff repaired?
No,
And secondly, do we have any kind of coordination or workmanship with Habitat for Humanity or anything like that?
Not for this particular project, but we will work with them. We spoke about on 5315 High Street. This program, the funds are coming from the city directly, so
Okay,
we're not using our funds. Yes.
that takes care of the first
Yeah,
part then.
yeah.
All right.
This is just where the housing authority manages, this project.
The process,
They
right,
just
the
handle that,
process.
that's all they do,
Yeah.
so it's all city fund.
Because many of the seniors, you know, they're on fixed income and they have
Sure.
work that need to be done to their home. And
Yeah.
so, we agreed to do this for the city because it was a need in the community.
which we should do.
Is there some type of stipend for the housing authority in doing this?
We get admin dollars for that.
I thought I'd just bring it.
Yes, yeah, we do.
We're gonna make some money.
Yes.
and this is our capital fund breakdown for 2024. As Edie Winston stated previously, the 5-year plan is rolled out. We get with Director Jenkins, Edie Winston, the maintenance and management staff, and we all come together and we powwow or figure out what is needed for our residents within the community. And this is our capital budget for 2024. Would you all like for me to read that or?
That you get probably, yes, it- majority of the funds are going to the capital improvements, the actual work that's being done on the property.
Commissioners, any questions?
No,
But, the High Street Churchill property, deconstruction of that.
So we're looking to, there's some valuables that's inside the property, and so we're gonna go through an auction process to get those, to see what money we can get from those, into the cabinets, it's some nice equipment and things and appliances in there. Then after that, then we will demolish that property. And then we'll work with the city and Habitat for Humanity to build back single-family homes on that site.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the property by the library.
Yes,
Yes.
right before the mansion.
That's what they call
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Any additional questions for? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I would like to see if there are any, public comments that, you would like to make in regards to this plan, so that I can make sure that we include it. I open the floor for anyone that has any questions or comments that they want included in the plan.
So you need a vote on resolution 2024
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners, the chair is in need of a motion for resolution 2024-22, the resolution adopting the Portsmouth Youth Development and Housing Authority's annual agency plan for fiscal year 2025 and approval of moving to work supplement.
So moved.
We have a motion in the second. Madam Secretary. Is there any in readiness? There being none, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Pickens, Commissioner Wicks,
yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
and Chair Williams.
Yes.
Going back to 20.
Yes.
And we're going back to 20 or 21.
So, King Square, so we have, Jonathan Fluxan on the phone. He is our legal counsel for our development matters, with Reno and Kavanaugh. You all may remember, a couple of months ago, we talked about King Square and the bond redemption. And also the part of that process, we talked about that we were ending or nearing the compliance period. And we were looking at to buy the investors out or the limited partners with that project. And so, Jonathan's gonna speak a little bit about that today and that process and the resolution that's before you.
Hi, good afternoon. Can folks hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, I'm Jonathan Fluxted from Reno and Kavanaugh, and thanks for having me on this evening. So the King Square Apartments, as you may or may not recall, it's a 57-unit affordable community and multifamily community. And back in 2006, it was part of something called a bond and low-income housing tax credit deal. And in connection with that, the authority issued bonds to the tune of $6.5 million, and those were redeemed this past summer. And then the second part of that, as was mentioned earlier by Director Winston, is that the tax credit, the 15-year tax credit compliance period has ended, and so the authority is currently a 100% owner of the general partner entity that of the partnership that owns the property. And so now we want to get the investors out, and they held a 99% ownership interest in the project owner. And so that particular interest was sold a couple of times. It ended up with Boston Financial. And so we approached them this summer on how to acquire the interest. And so There is a purchase option and right of first refusal agreement that was entered back in 2006 as a standard on these deals. And that named PRHA as the optionee, right? So at this point, PRHA is exercising its option to reacquire the limited partnership interest. And the cost of that is the existing debt on the property and taxes. And the only remaining debt on the property is already held by PRHA. So there were CDBG funds, it's community development block grant funds that were loaned into the project in 2006. And then there was an additional set of funds that was loaned to the authority or by the authority. Again, all subordinate debt already held by PRHA. The taxes, that was based on, so the way that the taxes are calculated are based on what the capital account of the partnership owning the project looks like. And here there's a negative account or negative balance of just under $4 million. And so the tax is calculated by then multiplying that by 21% or taking 21% of that figure. And then you have an amount which was just under $900,000. So when you calculate the purchase price, it would have been the existing debt on the property plus that $837,000 tax bill. The executive leadership was able to negotiate that cost down to $125,000. So it is now reacquiring the limited partnership interest that's 99.99% ownership in that entity or in the entity that owns the project for not, basically $1 million, but a fraction of that. So now we're also assigning the option to an affiliate of PRHA called Portsmouth Development Corporation. And so then after the authority, finalizes this sale or this acquisition, it will be 100% in charge again and of the ownership of this particular project. The other thing that we're asking the board to do with this resolution is to appoint Alyssa Winston as the manager of the project owner, which is called, or the general partner entity, which is 57 Units LLC, because the current manager that's named on that is a former executive director, Danny Crucci, I believe. So that's just a bit of housekeeping that needs to get done.
Commissioners, are there any questions?
Is there a conflict of interest to have you?
Shouldn't be.
I'm just asking, yes.
What was the question?
Is there a conflict of interest having you be the leader of that and the executive?
None that I'm aware of. Do you want to speak to that, Jonathan? The previous executive director, before Mr. Short, it was Danny Cruz.
Right.
So he was listed previously there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, there's no conflict that I'm aware of, and this is sort of standard practice in these types of transactions, because the idea is that you have somebody that's affiliated with the authority that is still running the day-to-day, and and that, that is ordinarily done by either the executive director or by some other employee of the authority. This is the kind of structure that we see throughout the Commonwealth.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, Commissioner?
No, I would just ask council that, he would have said yes. Is that about council, right?
No, I did. I it over.
Oh, what you did. I thought you wanted me.
That's what I thought.
I thought you wanted me.
Okay, well, let's get at it.
Okay.
Commissioner, we need a motion for resolution 2024-21, resolution authorizing the acquisition of limited partnership interest in King Square 2006 limited partnership of Postal Development Corporation.
So moved.
We have a motion, there's a second. Is there any unread? Is there any unread? There being none, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Morgan? Yes. Commissioner Pickens? Commissioner Wicks? Yes. Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cost? And Chair Williams?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks all. Have a good one.
Next on the agenda is the public speaking item. If there's anyone here who would like to speak, please come forward and have a seat. You have 5 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to comment? You have 5 minutes. There being none, we're moving on. Commissioner's comments. Commissioner Pickens?
Commissioner Pickens?
I said, do you have any comment?
You have any comment? Okay, Commissioner Cox?
Well, thank you for voting me in, because I don't know.
You would do a great job.
I appreciate
Make
it.
sure I don't show up a few times.
And I appreciate, Ms. Tracy for scheduling the trip for me and had a great time, building my first time. I appreciate the opportunity. We did learn a lot with, like the commissioner, we got a few commissioner tried to get some information. I know we kind of missed the main one, but it was good information, so I liked it.
They had all day one that was all day for commissioners and
Okay.
so none of us were in that.
Okay. Make sure you get the next
Yeah,
one. I think we're sold out.
Yes.
it really did sell out fast.
Mhm.
It really did.
Commissioner Prince?
None.
Commissioner Wicks?
No comments at this time.
Sure.
But wait a minute, I do want to say, thank you all for the outpouring of support. This has nothing to do with our business, but I lost my son on the 20th. And you guys have been amazing. I really appreciate, the love and support shown during this really difficult time. So thank you. And the flowers was beautiful. Tracy, I really appreciate you. All you did too. Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Wright?
Nothing at all.
Commissioner Morgan?
I would like to say the trip, thank you, Tracy, for arranging everything, and, we were busy. We were busy, we did get in a lot of steps. Yeah, I got in 6,000 steps, those 3 days. Went to the different sessions, so, it was enlightening, learning how AI is going to infiltrate, our business. It's in every business, so we won't be left out. That was enlightening, and we're gonna order some business cards.
Yes.
Everybody asked us for cards, and I hate to say, okay, I have mine, but here's my name. No. We'll take care of it.
I was trying to take care of it. I tear a piece of paper off and take care of it.
It was so nice meeting other commissioners from all the other states and sitting, even eating, exchanging ideas and, all that, but that was just
Okay.
awesome. That's all.
You know, you make it sound like I should have canceled my speaking. I should have told them I was sick.
I would say this, the conference, especially the national one, NARO, is just one I think that commissioners probably should never miss. At least attend, one of the national conferences because they have so much more to offer. And even you, I think you would have enjoyed, they now have a committee that, is geared towards women in our industry. And it was probably the most powerful thing I could have ever gone to. It literally touched my soul. It really did, you know, to be in the room of women that look like me, that sound like me, that, you know, in the same business as me. And, you know, we're pulling off each other, you know, we're sharing information and that type thing. And in our industry, you know, our makeup is 19% women. You know, but when you walk into a PHA, it's majority women that are in a housing authority. So excuse me, man. But just to be empowered in that group, you have to be a part of that group. It is an official committee now. So I'm not gonna join another committee. I'm done. I have 4.
I'll make the next one.
Please make the next.
I'll make the.
Yeah, I'll make the next one too. Anybody who invites me to speak, I tell them I'm sick.
We'll be in Montgomery, Alabama, is our next conference on CERC. It's not the national one.
Okay.
It's CERC, but we'll be in Montgomery, Alabama, and maybe just sort of kind of getting that information out a little bit sooner to the commissioners, so we could all be together, because it was a hump from their hotel to where we were. So it was a lot.
That's how you got over stuff.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it though. We enjoyed each other.
Thank you. Executive Director Winston, want to thank you and your staff for the great job you do and you continue to do. Commissioners, it's been our pleasure and it will always be a pleasure. The chair is now in need of a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
You have a motion, you have a second. Secretary.
Vice Chair Cost,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Pickens, Commissioner Wicks,
Yes.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
and Chair Williams.
Yes.